All right, so I'm starting what I've been dreading, among other things. So I'm doing the wheel wells, and the part I'm dreading is actually taking all the fenders and hood and stuff off to put these on. But so I've already kind of sanded them up, threw some undercoating on the bottom. I cut a hole in it, and I'm starting to put riv nuts on it, but I have to order a new riv nut gun. I think it'll be here tomorrow. Oh, wow, it's still wet. I'm also cutting out a template and trying to make it fit in there so that once I get it all massaged in there, banged down, and lined up, I'll trace those holes and drill holes in those, and then that will be where I screw it into the riv nuts on the wheel well. I'll probably put some kind of seal around it too. I got leftover butyl tape or whatever that is. I've got that, so I might put that on there. But I've got the, I ended up donoring that circle patch from, it's my dog. He's over there trying to figure out what's going on. I ended up donoring patch out of, and this was a brand new quarter skin that I had bought back in '80, but I just cut that out of there. And so yeah, that's where I got that from. It's my original gas tank, front passenger fender. I'm holding on to this stuff for right now because, like, right now I just use that piece, and this is all good metal. This is all from that on down. That's actually Pour 15 Bondo that I put on there back in the 80s, 90s, and I regret it. I try to get it off, so I just bought a whole new quarter panel. But I'm using the metal because it's good metal. And then this, I just, well, those sand marks right there are when I was testing it, because it had probably this much Bondo in there because it had gotten hit, so I replaced that fender. So once I get all my stuff squared away, I'll get rid of all that metal. But for right now, I'm going to hang on to it just because you never know when you need it. Just like now, I went out there and cut this little circle out of it. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. Already kind of prepped it, painted the other side. I probably shouldn't handle it as much as I'm handling it now because it's kind of dry to the touch, but then, so yeah, that's the part you're going to end up seeing anyway right there. Everything else you're not going to see as long as it's cleaned up and has what do you call that stuff? Epoxy paint on it, and then I put undercoating on top of that just to protect it. Same thing with this one right here. Again, the part I'm not looking forward to is taking this all up and then realigning the gaps, but I suppose it's better to do it now than paint it, try to do it, and then you're chipping paint and everything else. So yeah, I'm gonna leave you right now with this, and then probably gonna let that dry a little bit because I keep messing with it and getting marks on me. So I'll let that dry a little bit and I'll get back with you. All right, guys. All right, so I got my new tool in, and I haven't used it yet, but it does seem 100% better than that other rinky-dink tool I had. The only different problem I'm going to have is the smallest riv nuts that come with this are M5, and those are bigger than the ones I have in it now. So what that means is I've got to take all those riv nuts out, cut them out, and then put these in. And then these are the riv nuts that come with it. I already tried to put the attachment from the other gun. It's incompatible. So unless I go out and try to find something that's that size, which I'm not going to do right now, that's what I'll have to do. This is a 3-in-1 kit, so it does rivets, riv nuts, and it's got a cutter, so you can cut. I don't know how I would I don't know how or what I would use the cutter piece for, but I'm sure maybe something will come up. But yeah, so right now I'm going to end up cutting off those riv nuts and then fitting those in, and we'll see how that tool works out. All right, guys. All right, guys. Like I said, I got the new 3-in-1 tool. I put 2 of them in already just to make sure. What a night and day difference the tool is. It took me a minute to figure out exactly how I was supposed to hook this thing up. But now that it's hooked up, you basically, and I'm going with M5 just because that's the smallest one that they've got here. And that's the tool I'm using. They've got different sizes in this kit. And then here's the M5 riv nut side of it. So what you're going to do, and I've already re-drilled those holes in the fender wheel, but you take this, you spread it out as wide as it can go. You put the flange side down closest to the tool, screw it all the way in like that, and then come over to, I'm going to try to get you situated. Come over to the hole, whichever hole you want to use. You put it in, and then you squeeze the tool. And it takes a little bit of effort because what you're doing is crushing that riv nut. So then you unscrew it with this thing, and that basically releases the tool from the nut. And I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. So you get the tool, use this piece right here to unscrew this from the nut, and then flip this thing over, and this is what it looks like. So you can see that little lip there. Let me show you what it looked like before so you can get an idea of what's going on with the riv nut. So originally the riv nut is completely cylindrical so that it allows it to slide. This is reverse, but I'm just going to show you, so it can slide all the way in that whole pre-drilled hole. But what happens is when you start to crank on that, this little knurled area right here crushes just like this, and that provides a nice seal against the metal so this thing doesn't turn or move around. Night and day difference, that tool and that crappy Harbor Freight one that I bought. I think Harbor Freight has a better one on there, but I tried to cheap out, and that saying, buy once, cry once, I should have bought once. But so far, I'm happy with this tool. All right, guys, let me finish putting these riv nuts in. All right, guys, I got it all bolted in, and I changed my mind. Instead of using that butyl adhesive or the same stuff I used on my window, when I cinched it up, I actually forgot to put it on. But it actually worked out because putting it on would have gave me about a 3/8 gap, and then my screws that I got, the M5s, probably wouldn't have gone through to try to cinch that up. So it actually worked itself out, and this I think was a better idea. But what I ended up putting on it was brushable seam sealer. Same stuff that I've put on everything else that I've done on the car, and it's pretty durable. So I've put that on. I put anti-seize on all the screws going into those riv nuts, just so that hopefully I won't have as much of an issue on the back end if I have to take this thing off to access the blower motor. As soon as this dries, I'll throw some paint on it, on the seam sealer itself, and then what I'll end up doing is going on the back side of all these riv nuts, and I'll probably pack each one of those riv nuts with grease, just so that, like, you'll see on some of these, because I had 2 different size riv nuts, and some of them I needed to use the longer ones on. So like right there, you can see that longer one. I'll put grease around that, and then the one that's recessed in, I'll jam grease in that as well, in addition to the anti-seize that's already in it. And that's just to keep crud from getting in there and corroding it, and then when I need to access it, it's not such a pain in the butt. Hopefully I don't have to access it, but you know how that works. Alright guys, so that's where I'm at right now with this, and let it dry. I'll shoot some paint on it, and then comes the dreaded pulling this apart. I'm still kind of uncertain how I want to do it. If I just want to leave the hood on, take it off, the hinge off the hood, prop the hood up on one side, take the fender off, put it on, it's bolted up, then do the other side, or if I take the hood completely off and just start kind of disassembling it. We'll see. The one thing I don't want to do is have that hood, as I'm propping it up, slide into my new windshield. That wouldn't be so cool. But I think I can, well, we'll see. We'll see. Depending on how it works, that would be my preferred way to do it, is leave the hood on, unbolt it. But let me let this dry, and then we'll come back later on, guys. All right, so I've got, probably in the most shady way possible, I've got this propped up in the front, got a coat hanger kind of holding it a little bit in the center, got bubble wrap and thick cardboard on my glass. I've got 4x4, 2x4, and a 1x4 up there. I've got all the bolts off of it, I believe, so I think I just need to pull it out and hopefully not catch this hinge on the hood and have it fall down. So anytime I work with sheet metal, I just tend to want to put gloves on so that I don't cut. Now I think this is shady as heck, but I think I'm gonna try to get it out. Oh, you know what else I forgot? Always gonna forget one bolt. It's the firewall bolt. The one on the firewall. So, put this here. Well, shoot. Balancing an egg on a needle. All right. Alright, that one's out. So let's try that again. Put my gloves on. I detached the front fascia on this side. I loosened this up, loosened up the center one all along this bottom, just so I could pull it away. Well, I don't want to mess with it now because it will pull with this, but I got to see now. Oh, come on, come on, come on. No, let's not. The real, uh-oh, do I got something hooked up? I sure do. You know what I got? My turn signal. There we go. All right. So I got that up out of the way. Kind of back to almost square zero. But so this is my. I left some, and I can adjust here if I need to. But I left some play, thinking I'll have room to put it on. So we'll see if I got room. I can close this for right now. Again, I just gotta take caution to that hood being open because. Alright, so this would go, and I don't even know kind of how it goes because it's been so long, but we're just going to kind of wing it. Nope, wrong way. Got it backwards. Alright, that looked good right there, huh? And I got to put those clips on it too, so I've got clips for, I guess it's for this side. All the clips are going to go on this side. So what I'm going to do is get the clips out and I'll clip it up and I'll bring you back in. All right, guys. As you can see, the hood is off. I decided I didn't want to sit there and worry about it falling down and pivoting into my windshield or in me. So I took it off and set it over here. And you can also see the tires off. So I was getting ready to put that on and the tire wasn't off. And of course, the tire's off, not off. You can't get to some of the bolts you got to get to. So if you're going to be dumb, you better be hard. So right now, I'm going to try to, I've got these two clips in on this right here. And then on the back side, let's see where we can get on the back side. Oh, this used to hang pretty nice with the tire there, but now the tire's not there. On the back side right here, it uses these from the inside with a little screw, and I've got those sitting right here. So what I'm going to try to do is position myself to where I can stick this up in there. And there's a, trying not to get all this crap on me. See this little, I don't know if you can see this. There's a groove right here in this metal with these two clips. Well, on the fender, there's a groove right here. So it's a nice little identifier to make sure that you kind of got it in the spot so you're not sitting here wrestling with something that's totally off. So I'm going to go up, put it in its groove, and I know you can't really see a whole lot there because, well, I'm covering you. But you got to trust me. Ooh, maybe you shouldn't. That's why you use your foot. Just got to get one started up front, maybe two. Maybe I'll get two started. No, we'll go with one for right now. So now we got one started up front. Where are we at? All right, there we go. So these, see if I, well, man, I wish there was a, I'll bring you down when I get one started, just so I can, because I'm holding it with one hand and trying to start this with the other. But, well, that don't make no damn sense. There we go. Where we got? It's too small. I mean, too short. And it came with the kit, so I'm not sure why it's too short. I figured that might be too short, just because, yeah, it's too short. I'm just putting one in without this washer. So in the kit, there's 4 of these, 2 for each side, and they came with 4 of these. But when I stick it through, somehow it's not reaching the back of that nut. But I got one started without the washer, so I was able to get the threads in. Now I want to see if I can. I just want to make sure that I've got the right one on. I do have the right one on because that other one was, where are we at? Put my head under here. You know what I should have done is brought a light with me. I got a light. I just choose to do this the hard way. Alright, there we go. So I got 2 started up front. Let me see if I can bring you down in there. I got to keep collapsing these legs. Well, maybe not. Maybe I can. All right.
See, these are the two back here that I believe you put these on. That's what I believe. I don't think it goes up there. I think that's where those two go. But the problem is it this barely goes through it as it is. It barely goes through. So I'm thinking that's where it goes. It has to go there. There's the two backing nuts and then big ass holes. So, well, we'll see. I'm gonna mess with it a little bit. I'll bring you back in. All right, there, guys. All right, guys. So I'm gonna be up front with you. I just did my whole little spiel on this piece to find out that I was in the camera mode. I took one picture and I sat there and talked, and when I looked at it, it wasn't even a video. So I'm gonna back up and just kind of tell you where I'm at. Obviously I've got the fender off. I've got the hood off. It just made more sense than to try to balance it and try to hope it didn't run into the, it's just gonna make it easier. I got the fender well partially bolted up, so it's bolted to the battery tray and then it's bolted down there, and then I've got those two bolts there, and like I said, I had to use a little bit longer bolts just because the other ones were just, the one that come in the kit were just too short to actually reach the nut. One thing that this did expose when I took the fender off that I knew I had, but I just kind of ignored it, and I figured I better not ignore it now, is this piece right here where my now speaker wire rolls from the body to the door. This is a 2-inch hole, and that one I'm not sure. It's probably like a 3-inch maybe, but I tried to look for the door jamb boots that would fit that, and I didn't find anything. I looked on Firebird Central, I looked on several other sites, and I didn't see anything unless I just overlooked it. So what I did was I bought these from Detroit Speed, and these are 2-inch on both sides. And it's got that little flap there. You put that on the downside so when the wires come in, the wires don't chafe on the metal. But my thinking is I'll shove this in like this, and it fits really nice in there. And then obviously it doesn't fit on this side. So I've got two of them, one for each side. So what I did was I fabbed up some metal plates, cut a 2-inch with a 2-inch hole saw. And then those plates, one for each side, I'm going to tack weld in on the corners and maybe top bottom. It doesn't support anything, so it's not like I've got to burn it in real hard. It just needs to be there, and then I could put seam sealer around it or something. But that is a 2-inch hole I drilled out, and it fits perfect because I just tried it, and you see this little ledge right here. It went in to where you had to just smash it, and it'll be a nice tight seal is what I guess I'm trying to say. But that was my thought now, and it looks like it will work out well. I just need to let that weld primer dry, because I hit it with weld primer because I'm not going to be able to get to it from the behind. So I welded the behind, and then I'll tack that on and then scuff it up, and then I can shoot regular paint on the outside, and that will take care of, you know, taking care of the speaker wire that goes through there, and seal up the door and the body panel so that animals, critters, whatever don't go in there. Normally those holes on this car, because I didn't have power locks, power doors, or anything going to the windows, I don't have anything going to it, it had something like this. So they're like these little plastic things, and I've got another one somewhere that's actually a bigger one, and they're so frail and dry rotted that they're kind of crumbling in my hand anyway, so I was going to have to replace them. Thing is I just couldn't find the size that I needed to go from that door. That's why I built those. But yeah, I just wanted to get you up to speed where I'm at right now. So as soon as that dries, I can burn it in, not burn it in, I'm gonna tack it in on this side, and then I can hopefully start putting the fender on. One thing that I plan on doing and I probably won't tie up the front, because I did loosen, I undid it from there, loosened it from here, undid it from the center, is I'll have that nose piece just, it doesn't matter, it just needs to be away from the fenders. So when I paint it, the paint goes around and it's just not, because as it is now, when it's tied up like this, in some spots it could just bridge across, and then when you go to take something apart, it's cracking your paint and chipping it. So I think what I'm going to do is leave it off, and then paint it, and then once it's all dry, I can push that front nose back to the fenders. But that's down the road. I was just kind of giving you my thought process as I go along. But all right, guys, that's enough for now. I just wanted to bring you up to speed, and like I said, I already did this once, and I had to do it again. But all right, there. All right, so I got the patch in. It's got the weld-through primer on it right now, and then I've got seam sealer around it. I'm gonna let the seam sealer dry, and then I'll probably just shoot a coat of black epoxy paint over it. I will be doing the door jambs when I go through the car, but anything I can get black ahead of time, in case I miss something in a door jamb, it'll look black. So I'll let this dry, shoot over some black paint, and then attach the rubber boots. So, all right, guys. All right, guys, fast forward. I got both the wheel wells in and the fenders on. It came out pretty nice. It was a little tough on this side, and I think it's because that fender was the repop fender, so the bolt holes that line up under here, like 2 of them didn't line up. And then you could see these bolts right here. I got to have these replaced. I couldn't find the actual, here it is right here. See how long that is? I don't have a long one. Mine is short, and when I pushed it on there, it wouldn't reach the hole. So for the time being, I just put 2 bolts and nuts and a couple lock washers on it. But what a pain in the butt, because the actual removing and putting it on is not that hard. But I took it all off thinking it would kind of go back on the same way. But once, like I said, once you start moving a bunch of pieces, the alignment all went off. So it took me a while to get the fenders lined back up and the hood to line back up. And I finally got it probably about as close as I'm going to get it. But it took a minute, and I had to loosen all these back up and kind of manipulate this to get this away. Like I said, it's a process, and if you don't do it every day or you haven't done it several times, it's a learning curve. So you'll do it, and then you'll learn for the next time what not to do and what to do. But right now I've got both inner fender wells on, so I'm happy with that. And now what I need to do is, well, I'll close this video up, but what I'm going to start doing now is pulling this out and start doing like the body work. That quarter panel, or the rear quarter panel, across the trunk lid, the hood, that other side should be pretty easy. The hood here is going to be a little bit more work just because of what I was dealing with from the beginning. This one probably not going to be too bad. That one's brand new, so it's just going to be a little bit of, and the door panel will take a little bit. So it's not a whole lot, and like I said, it's not going to be concourse type stuff, so it's not going to pass any kind of litmus test like that. But what I just want to do is get it as best as I can, and then prep it for primer, and then ultimately paint. I was kind of trying to figure out what kind of primer I should put on it, because it's like, once you give me more than 1 or 2 options, I start going a little nuts because I start digging in too far. Part of me wants to do a primer sealer, but I suppose it wouldn't really need it. Maybe it just needs like a polyester primer, or something, the feather fill or something like that, to prep it for the paint. So I'm going to dig into it a little bit more and figure out exactly what primer I should put on it. I do know I've got
I don't know if it's, yeah, I probably don't have it on this computer, but there's a additive, and I'm trying to remember who makes it, NEX, DEX, or something like that. But it's like 70 bucks for like a pint. But what you do is you add it to your paint, and it makes it to where you can put it on this flexible stuff, and it won't, your paint won't crack once you put it on. So it would have to go on the front one, and then that rear bumper here is made of the same, the bumper cover is made of the same material. So I'd end up putting that flex material, or that flex additive into that, and then from there, the rest of it can be just normal paint. So like right now I'm still leaning towards the satin black, or I think it is going to be satin black. Again, you know, nothing's permanent, so if I don't like it, I can always change it later. I haven't totally buttoned up this to the front fender on either side, and that's because, like I was saying, once I paint, what I want to be able to do is get around these corners. So you can pull that in and pull it out, but I want to get around those corners so it kind of goes in there and not just bridges across, so that in the future, if you ever have to take it off, you're not just ripping paint apart with it. So that's probably why you'll see the front not all hooked up properly. But all right, guys, I know this video was a little kind of all over the place. Not all over the place, but it was missing some chunks. But I was just going through some stuff here at home, and I really didn't even want to work out here. And so when I did come out, I didn't even turn on the video, just because I needed to get my own headspace. But apologize. It's I'm going to end this video right now, and then we'll pick up. We're probably doing body work, I'd imagine, because I don't think I've got too much more to do on it. But all right, guys, have a good one. All right, guys, one more thing. When you go through the video, I realized I didn't show you the after of putting that boot on, and I apologize. Like I said, my brain wasn't where it needed to be, which was out here, so I wasn't really filming anything. But and the fender's on, so you can't see it from the same angle we were showing from the beginning, but I'll try to show you what I got so far. That boot, this is the piece that I welded and put seam seal around it, and then painted, and then it goes across. So it actually turned out really well. Again, I apologize. I just wanted to bring you back in real quick just to kind of show you what it was. But all right, guys, later on.